What sounded like a compliment when you were young, but you later understood it wasn't. You are smarter than you look. When I was like 5 to 7, my grandma used to call me her little hemorrhoid. I had been an adult for quite a few years before realizing that she was calling me a pain in the ass. I love this. Better than mine. When I used to annoy my mom, she used to call me a little twat. As an adult, I'm not sure she actually knows what that means, and now I'm too afraid to ask. I used to get told you were funnier than you look, but then I realized people just did not have high expectations of humorous looking individuals like myself. My dad said I had a face for radio. Ouch. Half of it came from him, so at least he played himself too. And the other half is whoever he was able to bang, so if they're super ugly, it's a double self-burn. And a voice for silent films? I once had a coworker tell me I have a voice for email responses. Apparently, my face isn't the only thing better suited for things other than TV. You look/sound/act just like your mom/dad. This could be an innocent comment but also could be a veiled insult. Got this one from my grandmother: "You're a home bug just like your dad, aren't you?" Cause I was like 6-ish and we lived 1.5 hours away. It was getting late and I was like, "Are we spending the night? Are we headed out? We gotta fish or cut bait here, y'all." My mom does this when I don't give in to her bullshit. "You're just like your father." Okay, so I'm just like the alcoholic narcissist who sexually abused me? Thanks, Mom. They'll say a prayer to St. Jude for you, a common Irish saying around exam times. Street. Jude is of course the patron saint of hopeless cases. Oh my god, that's so fucked, but also hilarious. Here in the US, St. Jude's is a hospital for needy children. The hospital is named after the same street. Jude. This is horrifying information to learn. Thanks. When I was young, people used to tell me you have a face for radio, but little did they know, I also have a voice for email responses. When I was little I played soccer. I had asthma and I was easily the slowest on my team, but I thought I was at least keeping up. My coach called me Speedy and I thought it was genuine until I got older and my mom told me he was being sarcastic. Aw man, I'm sorry. That stings. Like dem lungs. My coach once had me player for the rival team so they would have enough players and told me they needed a good player. Hello. Have you ever received a backhanded compliment that seemed nice at first, but later realized it wasn't? Share your stories below and let's have a laugh together. Can't wait to hear what you've got. You're such a perfectionist. This one resonates. Why is it not a compliment? Many times people who say that are annoyed because you're talking too long to do a task or that you take over group task. Many perfectionists go behind and fix what other people have done and that annoys them. Perfection often takes too long when good enough will suffice. I've heard "don't let perfect get in the way of good" many times. Growing up, people would say, "You're such a perfectionist." I later realized it was their polite way of saying, "You're really annoying. You're not like other girls. You're a rarity among women." The first line my ex-sociopath boyfriend said to me. How did he stop being a sociopath? /JK. I wonder if anyone studied MDMA for stunted empathy. I've tested it for electronic dance music appreciation, works pretty good. You sure ask a lot of questions, don't you? I have never understood this and I still don't. Why do some people think that curiosity and wonder are bad? Sorry I wasn't a potato. Curiosity is great, but not everyone is up for answering all questions at all times. Kids especially can get crazy with them. Of course, it's great to still be supportive of their curiosity, but emo reasonable to tell them you can't answer them all at that moment. My son is like this. Voted most curious in pre-K superlatives. He is always asking questions about everything. If I honestly don't know the answer, we write the question down and either look it up then or come back to it later. I used to get told, "You're so observant." But then I realized people just saw my curiosity as an opportunity to get their daily dose of detective entertainment. You look 18, when I was 12. As an adult, I realized how creepy that was. Even as young teen as a guy I had a few older women that said the things I'd to you if you were older. Not really paying attention to that when I was like 14 to 15 or whatever. And then later realizing what these older women were implying to me at the time was wild. I do have a guy friend that I remember US being in 5th/6th grade, and he had several adult women saying to him that they were waiting for him to turn 18. It goes for boys and girls. Adults, please leave the kids alone. I once had someone tell me, "You have the energy of a hyperactive squirrel." Now I realize they were just politely saying I had the attention span of a goldfish. When I was a kid, my one uncle, whenever he saw me, would say, "You're looking solid," so I used to think it was a compliment cause I was always trying to build muscle. It made me feel like some of the work I was doing was paying off. I found out years later when I got older that it was his way of saying I was looking fatter than the last time he saw me. Are you sure this was what he meant it as? How did you come to the realization he was calling you fat and not actually complimenting you? Hearing him make the same comments to certain cousins/nephews/nieces when I got older, and then hearing how he spoke about them when they weren't around to others like my mom or grandmother. I should have figured it out on my own, really, since it seems so obvious to me now. Two-faced people are really the worst. If you were only 18, I was 13 and he was 40. Oh, ew. I hope you stayed far, far away from him. I did, told my dad. Never saw that friend of his again. The idea of wanting to fuck a friend's daughter even if they were 18, or 20 or 25, is so messed up to me. Dad. I remember when someone said, "You have such a mature sense of humor." For a kindergartner. Clearly, I peaked at a very early age. An E5 in my platoon left a copy of his NCOER, non-commissioned officer evaluation report, in a desk drawer. I still remember what it said: "Works well when supervised." Never realized how bad that was at the time. Pretty sure the Army kicked him out later. Able to complete simple tasks with minimal supervision. I wrote that in an evaluation. Of a captain. Banisters never looked cleaner. Ha! I did 6 years in the AF. Our EPRs were so fluffed up with bullshit, it sounded like a completely different language. And we had to write our own. Glad those days are over. Nice parallel parking skills. You'll make a great valet one day. Hey, I was a valet at a very popular restaurant with a very tiny drop-off and parking area, and we had to be the picture of Swiss precision in order to not get gummed up during the rush. Most people didn't see it, but one guy who came out to smoke a cigar while he waited for his table was so stupefied that he never even lit up. "That was like a ballet," he said, and tipped us just for the show before he went in. Ouch. That is a stinger. I don't get it. I thought I was a shoo-in for Miss Congeniality when someone said, "You have a smile that's perfect for radio. Guess I'll stick to podcasts then. You'd be so pretty if you were skinnier. You have such a pretty face." I have heard this so many times. Not okay. It made me more insecure. Ugh. Been hearing that my whole life. Haha, I came to comment this. Being told I was well behaved/wise for my age. No, I was just traumatized and quiet lol. Being told we're wise/mature/well behaved probably meant we had childhood anxiety. Old soul. Can't relax and just be a child. Damn straight. I finally got proper treatment for anxiety in my mid-30s, and I remember thinking, I haven't felt this secure about life since I was 7. I was always on my toes trying to keep the adults happy. Older men commenting on my body when I was a minor. For fuck's sake. We have home video of my uncle singing a song about my tits when I was 12 at Christmas. If I had tried to sing a song about my niece's tits, my sister would have kicked my ass before I could finish the first line. Not only is it weird your uncle did it, but also that no one stopped him. Maybe you're just a shitty songwriter. All my songs about my niece's tits have been very well received by the family. I'm not usually one to brag, but I'm basically the Bob Dylan of familial tit songs. That's nice. For you. I'm 24F in college, and it's a trend now to speak like this, I guess. I hear so many girls say love that for you. I can't hear this any other way than passive aggressive. I stopped once mid-sentence when my friend said this to me. She was genuinely confused why I looked offended. Related, that can be fun. Read, well, I think that's stupid and think less of you for it. Whoops. Might need to change my phrasing. I use that to mean that's definitely not my thing, but I'm glad you enjoy it. I thought I was pretty good at cooking until someone told me, wow, your food looks just like the pictures in the recipe book. From the 70s.